Ahoy! Today's video we're going to be going through, well, first off, welcome back. Today's video we're going to be going through a few upgrades I've done to the boat since I've had it. I've had it for roughly about a year at this point. We will also be installing this transom saver as well. Picked it up at West Marine. The reason why I'm going down this route is I'm going to be traveling about 12 hours pulling this boat up north. And after reading a few forums and doing some online education, I guess you would call it, for preventative measures, and this way I don't end up ruining anything before I get to my destination, I'm going to go ahead and install this transom saver on there. At this point, I'm going to go through a few tips and some tricks on different things that I've done to the boat since I've owned it. So first off, spin the video around a little bit. I don't know why this wasn't a thing before, but when it came to this Yamaha engine, you can see how all the cords are laid out right here. Every time you steer back and forth, these wires rub on the inside of this hatch. And when I first got this hatch, there was no protection on it. You could literally see where the wires were rubbing. So eventually it would cut into the wires. So I went ahead and applied this little strip that you can pick up. I picked this up either on Amazon, or I think you can just buy it at your local auto parts store. But if you look at the cables, you can see where it was rubbing for a little bit of time. What was super awesome about the guy that owned the boat prior to me, he put a rope on the drain plug, which it probably would have taken me forever to come up with that solution. But it definitely makes it easy to remember to pull the plug and also put the plug in, because what I do with these straps afterwards, so after I take them off, I go ahead and just throw them in this bin. And then at that time, I pretty much can see that drain plug's either not attached or it is attached. Eventually, I will upgrade these straps because they are terrible. I've had multiple times when I get to my destination that one of these straps is laying on the ground or dragging on the ground. So eventually, I want to get the ratcheting type. So I'm trying to get this video bust out real quick before the Virginia heat melts me like the cartoons from Roger Rabbit. So I'm just gonna go through a few basic upgrades that I did prior to the long haul, because recently, the original intent of this video was supposed to be published before I went on my long journey to New York, but it just makes more sense for me to do it prior or afterwards. Just for the fact that making sure everything worked, and which it did. Everything went very smoothly. I didn't have any complications. The whole trip, I probably towed the boat. I towed the boat more than 24 hours between going up there and back, and then all the different traveling that I did when I was back in New York. So we'll go through the few upgrades that I have, making sure that this boat stayed latched down and I didn't have any issues with it. So prior to me departing, I went ahead and went on Amazon and ordered a new tire with the rim. It wasn't that expensive, and the tire and the rim the rim is very close to the original rim that are currently on the trailer. Everything matches up. I made sure the numbers all matched. One thing that I don't have on here right now was I had electrical tape around the threads. This way, in the event that these started to break loose, I didn't end up losing them down the highway. So that was a super awesome upgrade. Bought the kit from, what is it, West Marine. in order to mount it down. Another simple upgrade that I did, just to make it a little bit easier for me going up and down the tongue, is I bought like this skateboard material. Picked it up at Lowe's. It came in a good size sheet, and I went ahead and just cut it down, applied a little bit on both sections. Eventually, I am going to apply a little bit right here. This way, when I'm getting the boat onto the trailer, it just makes it a little bit easier for me to get a grip. I also took some of that material. It's 3M material, so you know it's going to stick real good. I put a little bit right here because it was just this painted coat, and it's not like up here where it's got the bed liner type of material. So put a little bit right there, and it makes it much easier. It makes it easy for the cell phone too. You don't end up losing that, chasing that around the boat. So this is the West Marine transom bracket or saver. I'm gonna go ahead. I know when it comes to, I was looking at a few things online, and the rounded end seems like it's more for like the bass boats and everything, where they have the roller down at the bottom. So when the boat first initially hits the trailer, it hits that roller. My boat, it's not designed that way. I just have a flat bar that goes across. So when it comes to that, there's a special bracket in here that I would have to mount on the bottom. And there is a drain hole, and that's typically where I've seen in most videos on where it would go. But I also want to make sure that it still can drain the water that's inside that tube, especially when I go in salt water and everything. So I'll apply a couple more holes on both sides of that little drain hole. This way I can still drain out the moisture or whatever water is inside. So I'll go ahead and get this opened up and see what type of hardware I get with it. Oh, they got some safety locks on it. Yep, that's not gonna happen today, boy. If you don't have a pair of these seatbelt cutters in your toolbox, I highly recommend them because they work amazing for a lot of things. This is the bracket that goes down below. Looks pretty flimsy to me. I wish it was a little bit better built. The whole thing really doesn't seem that, it seems cheap to me, but the more or less expensive ones felt even cheaper, so I went with this one. Of course, Lowe's is going to get more business with me because they gave me like a 1-inch bolt that clearly I can't fasten down. So I'm going to have to go to Lowe's and get a longer bolt, because then all I have to do is figure out how much extension I'm going to need to mount it to the motor up there. So another trip to Lowe's. Alright, so after further review when it came to this product, before I last shut off the camera, I said I was going to go take a trip to Lowe's and get a new bolt, which would have been fine, but I completely changed my mind because after looking at the product some more, so I'll let you see for yourself. So this is the locking mechanism. Let's see if it'll focus real quick. This is the locking mechanism for the bottom portion of transom saver, and all that really holds it in is this little pin. That's the only thing that's holding that additional weight when it comes to that engine. And then this screw, without even a locking nut on it, was supposed to hold it on there too. So as I further investigated into the thing, I was just like, this is sketchy. That's roughly a $5,000 engine back there, and I'm gonna trust this transom saver that is, in my opinion, very cheaply made. And my plan was to travel 12 to 15 hours up north with this, and that was the only reason why I was going to buy it. It's just because I was going to do a long haul. So the plan was to do a good review on it, but realistically, I'm just letting you know this is not going to be good enough for me. If you're going up and down the road, probably like 5 miles, maybe fine. That could be all right, but for a long haul, no, not this device. There is another one online. I'll leave the link in the description. It's better built. There's a few reviews on it too that they recommend that product. And if you're even just thinking about getting a transom saver, you're already at the point where you should just buy them. They are super simple to install. When I installed them, just to make sure that I don't screw this up, but that mounting bracket down there, went ahead and mounted that. You can mount it on the bottom and everything, but there's usually a drain hole back there, and I really did not want to mess up the drain hole. This way, obviously, so all the water, especially salt water, can drain out, and you don't end up corroding your boat up or your trailer up in the process. So I'll just go a little bit through. My engine has just electric trim, so just raise it up. That's probably a little bit too far for right now, but I'll go ahead and put this down because there's no way I can do this one-handed, that's for sure. So, get a good view for you guys. I do have the transom saver at maximum length. So, super simple. It just goes in there. You got this lock ring. I don't even know what these things are called, but little pin that goes through with the locking collar. Goes in. I'll give you a little bit of a close up there. So there's the locking collar. And then this guy just goes up and you just lower the engine down until it gets nice and snug. And then up on top, there's little spots to put the bungee cord. So in the pictures it says run the bungee cord around like this, but obviously it's too short and it's not really gonna work. So I just go down below the propeller or the prop, and then I just hook it back in right there, and it's super simple. Just give you like a reality test of this transom saver. I was super impressed by it, but as you can see, the engine's moving with the trailer. There's really no wiggle at all. I mean, that wiggle was just a little bit of leeway that the bottom brace has on the bottom of the transom saver. So this time I'll take it off, raise it up a little bit, drop it back down, and just for my height sakes. So the Jersey Turnpike is a killer, especially going through pretty much New York City, Baltimore. It is rough on the vehicles and everything, but if I did not have the transom saver on there, this is what the engine would do. Like, that's engine right there. That's just engine moving. And then as I go further, that's engine, trailer, and the actual boat. So, I mean, it's up to you if you want to just spend the money. There's like, it costs $70 for the thing, and it's so much cheaper than 40 horsepower motor. What is it, like $100 a horse? And then paying for all this stuff to be mounted and everything. I'm looking at like probably $7,000 for this motor to be on the back. And then if you ruin that, lose the engine, break the welds on the boat, you're gonna be paying big money. And I am super impressed about that transom saver. Like, it's so easy to install. So that's a wrap. If you have any questions, please shoot them at me. I'd be more than willing to answer anything. Like I said, I drove this thing for pretty much 24 hours straight, and I did not have any issues. I checked everything, every single pit stop as well. Oh, one other thing, I forgot about this. So I also did bring the grease gun with me. And every pit stop I just went down and felt to make sure that the bearings weren't overheating. Didn't have any issues there, but just to be on the safe side, I did go ahead and bring the grease gun. Along with that, I already took it out since I've been home for a couple days, but I definitely recommend that you do all these upgrades, make sure they have like spare tire and everything. Just make sure you have a wrench to take off the spare tires and everything, because it would suck to be going through all that preparation and you're stuck on the side of the road and you can't even get your spare tire off. I'm not sure if the vehicle has the same size bolts or nuts that the trailer does, but just go ahead and before you make a long trip, just go ahead and make sure that those things are good. Any other upgrades? So I picked up these guys were on Amazon as well. Aerofast. It's a company out of New Zealand, and I was impressed. They gave me the whole the background of their company, a little pamphlet, nice little carrying pouch. But they specialize in straps, and I think these straps were only like 30 bucks, and I'm super impressed by them. Mostly what I like about these straps is the tail at the end. This way it doesn't back off afterwards. The padded, everything that you see here came with it. The pad, so it doesn't mark up your boat and everything. Nice locking features. Everything was great. Because the original straps I had on it were just the cheap ones, where you they're pretty much just bolted down by pressure. There's no locking mechanism to them, other than this little piece of Velcro that eventually would just wear out. So definitely, I highly recommend, if you're looking for new boat straps, you check out these guys, because they're awesome. Plus it looks cool. Yeah. Like I said, if you have any questions or anything, please just hit me up. It's better than being safe than sorry. So, till next time, enjoy your next trip. Hope to see you out in the water.